This is Dead Island 2. We're doing a comparison. On the left, we have Xbox Series X. On the right, we have Xbox Series S. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well, as these are a ton of work to put together. So you're going to see a selection of different scenes, walking, running, some side-by-sides, just so you get an idea of the two kind of running in as close to a comparison as I could get, which, was a little daunting at times, but I think for the most part they're actually quite comparable, and if they ever fall behind, I'm sure the scenes side-by-side will catch up to each other in just a moment's notice. So on the left with Xbox Series X, we're getting a dynamic 4K resolution, which is like about 1800p at 60 FPS. On the right with the Xbox Series S, it's a 1080p dynamic resolution at 60 FPS. So both of them are running at 60 FPS as the frame rate target. And the big difference, obviously, is the resolution between the two of them. You do notice that the image quality of the Series X, I would say quite obviously, is a lot sharper in basically every single situation, and it just really helps for kind of outlining things in the distance and in the close ground as well. I also noticed that the Series X side of things seem to kind of render certain textures and assets a little bit more effectively than the Series S side of things. You would have certain like billboards and stuff would take an extra second, it would seem, on the Series S for some scenarios when you're moving up close to things. So yeah, it's just generally a lot more detailed of a visual environment and an experience, but I will say that the Series S definitely is doing a very good job in regards to keeping the performance level and keeping all of the geometry, the design, and the scale of the world intact between, coming from the Series X to the Series S, and I think that in itself is actually quite impressive. And I'd say in general, the actual performance and or visual quality across both experiences is actually well polished, well put together, and provides a clean gameplay experience between both of them. And as you can tell, maybe like a light bit of pop in here or there, but you'd have to put them up close beside each other like we're doing here to really notice, sort of too many things that like stick out between them, because it really honestly is a pretty impressive, kind of launch for both of these particular versions of the game, and I'd say that is very, very well done. There's also a little bit more refinement to some of the shadowing I've noticed. It's definitely a lot more heavily highlighted. Reflections wise and everything like that, about the exact same. There's going to be a mirror shot later on, like the mirrors just look horrible no matter what version of the game you go to play them on. The mirrors and stuff is just like really, really poorly done. The reflections, you'll see a mirror reflection a little bit here, but like sort of ground reflections, floor or liquids and stuff like that seems to be very well done on both versions, and actually does kind of capture the environment to a degree, and I think that's quite well done. It was also funny that occasionally I would get zombies that would like kind of grab me and I'd have to like reset the scene, but strangely enough, if you just do a brisk walking pace, the zombies really don't seem to bother you all that much compared to if you're actually moving around them in the scene. So that was really, really quite interesting to take in. Here's another shot of like the characters, just so you could kind of see like again the character models just a little bit sharper, but environmentally everything's there between the two versions, which is quite interesting. And we will be showing off a different area. It's not all just the beach segment here, but I thought this place was kind of a good showcase of like the environment of Los Angeles being sort of sunny, fun, beach-like, getting this sort of mix of zombies roaming around, a little bit of the slightly not really open world environments that are present, and then also seeing, the reflections are just so badly done. This is actually one of the better reflections in the game, believe it or not, but the mirrors and stuff like that, I really don't understand what they were going for. Like, if you even glance at a mirror, it completely takes you out of the experience. It would have been also nice to compare sort of the body technology destruction, but I think that would have been extremely hard to line up. But it is very, very dynamic, and it seems like the damage metrics, like how you damage and deform the zombies, is basically the same between the two. Just, of course, again, a little bit of a lower resolution, but impressively captured between both options. So I think a lot of it is just really detail sharpness, the asset sharpness and quality for the different textures, environments, and everything like that. But the full scale of the game beautifully seems to be captured here and presented across both versions of the game. They both seem to run pretty well as I start running. That's hilarious. And it just seems to be largely quite intact, and I'd say this is a very good effort in regards to actually making something that performs at a good frame rate between both versions of the game, gives you a good resolution quality, and kind of showcases what both of these particular consoles can do, their own strengths and everything like that. So I would say, yeah, this is pretty well put together. Very interesting offering, and that is the Dead Island 2 comparison. There'll be more walking about, so you can just see a little bit of a different area and style, but yeah, I think they actually did a pretty good job on the technical aspect of this one. It does look pretty good. It does deliver a sized environment, and it does deliver a lot of zombies going around trying to munch you and eat you as you're just trying to survive and do your various quests. So once again, liking the video is great, subscribing is great as well, and just enjoy the rest of the comparison kind of going at it. And hopefully this showcased the game pretty well for you.